welcome to the video. Mr. Glass is better than Split. Crazy to start off with. Mr. Glass, the 2019 movie that was a sequel to Split, which Split was a sequel to Unbreakable, is way better. And I believe that Split was a mid-movie with a mid-premise that had amazing characters. Two amazing characters. But Mr. Glass takes the normal story to become a sort of superhero film that reminds me of Chronicle. I feel as if Mr. Glass and Chronicle give off the same feel, and Mr. Glass is just actually way better than Split. For those of you who do not know what I'm talking about, Split is a movie about a guy. No, let's start with Unbreakable. Unbreakable is a movie about a sort of vigilante who gets the name the Overseer, who goes up against another man called Mr. Glass, who has brittle bone syndrome but is a super genius, which is then followed up by Split, where it's a story straight about a third man who has dissociative identity disorder and a bunch of different personalities, one of which is called the Beast, who I'd say relatively wins his movie, right? And then is followed up by Mr. Glass, where all three of them come together. It is the end of the trilogy. Now, Mr. Glass has all three characters together, a great story with a great plot twist, and it's just built very well. It has that same feeling as Chronicle I said earlier, in the sense of three people all getting to dignify and learn their powers, in the sense that they are going through the main crisis is, are we really superhuman people, or are we just mentally sick? Which, getting to fully take that over instead of just getting the idea from the other ones, we are mentally sick, that's the other one, and getting to learn, are they mentally sick, are they not, is the great turn of Glass. Now, I'm just gonna start talking about the movie in general. The movie starts off with we see the guy who we're gonna call him the Overseer, which, by the way, I want to say that this cast was like way better. They got a great cast for this, right? We started off with, I can't remember his name right now, but we meet the character, which is the Overseer. The Overseer is going off doing Overseer things, beating up random bad guys, and then he goes and he finds out about the girls who are missing, new girls who are missing, which were taken by, obviously, our character from Split. We'll just call him Kevin. And so Kevin bumps into him. Kevin and him start fighting, bang, 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 and then they both get caught and sent and shipped to an insane asylum. In this insane asylum, they also meet another man who is like them, called Mr. Glass. Now, Mr. Glass he's like this the whole time. He's cooked, right? And they have these lights to stop, he doesn't need anything, by the way. Mr. Glass, you don't need anything to stop him. He's already cooked. He says later that he has 94 breaks in his life. Now, all three of them are in their own rooms. A light in which flashes for Kevin to make sure whenever he turns into a dangerous mind, they swap him out. Water, because that's the weakness of the Overseer. And nothing for him. Now, as they're all in these, we get to learn more about the characters, and we find out that, obviously, if you know this from the first movie, is that the father of Kevin went off to go try to find him treatment for his DID, and then he ended up dying on a train. We find out that the Overseer got his abilities, or at least he got his brain damage in his frontal lobe from this, from also going and getting hit by a train, not being the lone survivor of the train. We guess what, which I guess at this point it's supposed to be separate trains. They are different trains. And then Mr. Glass, the reason this thing is in here is because he's the one who destroyed the train, which I guess that's what happened in the movie Unbreakable, right? So they're all here and they're being questioned, like, why do you that? There's this woman, Sarah Paulson, who's trying to figure them out and try to make them convince them that they are not superheroes. You're not this. You're not comic book characters, right? In the background, his son, who is helping him, the Overseer's son, who is helping him, is also looking through comic books to see, is this something that randomly occurs? Also, with our main character from the last movie, Casey. Casey is looking through this, and she sort of looks at it in a way of kinship towards Kevin, as in, Kevin, you are not, this is something that you brought upon yourself that can be fully fixed. And so they're going to help each other, and so all of them are coming through. And then there's this one scene I want to talk about where it's one of the guys named Daryl goes into the room with Kevin, and Kevin is currently in the perception of a girl named Jade, right? And Jade is smooth talking this nigga like, can you go grab that for me? I really need my shot, this, that. She's like, wow, get a look at you. This nigga Daryl is like, yeah, so bro, that is still a 6 foot buff ass man you're looking at. I don't care if the perception's a girl now. Daryl, you are a freak. Daryl, you are a freaky nigga, bro. And then there's this other guy named Pierce, who Pierce, he just a thug. Pierce pull up on Mr. Glass and is like, what if I break this, what is it, a flashlight? What if I drop this big ass flashlight on your little brittle bones? Will you get fucked up? Will you die? I hope so. Like, damn, nigga, chill out, right? So Daryl and him are just the two security guards in the situation. Sarah Paulson takes them all three into a room together, and a big thing that's going on here is the minds of Kevin. Originally there were three: Dennis, Patricia, and Hedwig, which were all called the Horde, in which their mind were supporting the beast. Now this same horde has grown to 10 and 11, 10 people. No, it grown to 11. But slowly, as this woman is talking to them, some of them are losing faith. Patricia, the headmaster, or what they say in quote, the high priestess of the group, is also losing faith. But one of the key ones, Dennis from the previous, was one of the main dudes. He doesn't want to do this. He doesn't agree with the killings. He never did. He keeps saying that. He's like, fuck this, I'm not with that, right? And then what's it called, we see that what's his name, Mr. Glass, keeps getting out of his room. He's just like in the street, but whatever, they just put him back in. They threaten him, this, that. They see him over by this drugs thing, and they're like, yo, did you take drugs? Nah, all the drugs are still here. Okay, we're good. He goes back in. By the way, the reason he's like this is because he's so smart, they had to give him crazy sedatives, which is why all the drugs are in him, right? And now one day we see him wheeling out, and he goes, huh, he's speaking complete perfect English, right? Like he's perfectly fine. He's doing everything completely normal. He goes into the room with Kevin, and he's like, I need you. I want to see the beast. If it's real, I'll break us out tomorrow. They're like, nigga, how are you talking? He opens his thing. The reason he was by the drugs is because he swapped them out. They've just been giving him Advil. They think they've been giving him sedatives. They've just been giving him Advil. He's talking to him, and this is when Daryl is coming in for his shift. Right? He's like, nah. So Daryl comes shift at 11 o'clock every day, but he's a talker. So he's always like 5 minutes late, which is why he has this 5-minute due time. He talks to Kevin. Kevin's like, it's Patricia talking right now. She's like losing faith, and it's like, I don't know what to do. And he proposes his idea. There is a giant tower that is being unveiled in town. And if he can get this tower to like fully work, if he can get this tower to if he can get it to work, the building, it's already working. He wants to break out, and then Kevin fights the overseer there, and then they can show that they are real heroes. He's very addicted to comic books, by the way, in a very weird way. And as he's doing this, he goes and he talks to the overseer, and he's like, I turned off all the water valves in your room. No, that's a little bit later. Apologies. He goes back into his room. In the morning, he's woken up, and they're like, he's like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing? They're like, yeah, we saw you leave the room last night on the cameras. Nigga, you getting a lobotomy. Whoa, I'm getting a lobotomy. Like, whoa. But obviously, Mr. Glass is smarter than that. He already switched out everything, so there's nothing going on in his head. You just put glass on him. Then he goes, and the next night, Daryl comes into his room. Daryl's like, here's your food, blah, blah. Mr. Glass, shing, slices his neck open with some glass, right? He's like, fuck you, Daryl, leaves. And then he goes, frees Kevin, and then he goes and he turns off the water valves in his room, and he's like, here's our plan. You come there and you see us. And we're gonna do this, whether you like it or not. We're gonna kill all those people. You want to be a hero? Come be a hero. And that he's like, all that there is a metal door. The overseer was almost convinced that he's not superhuman or anything, right? You're just in the brain, right? And then he goes, there's just a metal door, but hey, you can't do that, right? Because you're just a sorry ass human. He's like, I'm gonna break through this door now. But Kevin and them both, they decide, instead of taking the straight exit out, they go to the basement, him and Mr. Glass. As Kevin's fighting, we don't know why, but Mr. Glass goes on this computer and types blah blah blah. He types some shit in, and then they leave. And they go outside. The overseer breaks through. As they're doing all this fuck shit, just killing people, Mr. Glass bumps into Pierce. Yeah, Pierce the one who's gonna drop that shit on him. This nigga, the beast is like, you shall kneel before us, the powerless, the pure. And then he kills him. And then they go out the basement exit, do the computer shit. They all meet outside. They start boxing. Blah, 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 blah. They stand and bang. The animal and this, that. Casey's there watching. The son's there. Mr. Glass's mom is there. They're just all doing this. Eventually, Mr. Glass, what's it called? The son found something out. He goes, wait! Stop trying to fight my dad. You know, you should be fighting Mr. Glass. There was no separate train. You think he just died on a separate train? Mr. Glass killed him on that same train. The beast turns to him and he's like, I had to do it. You see, I'm the mastermind. I created both you and the overseer. I'm the truth. He's like, I understand that and I thank you for it, but I was brought here to protect Kevin. So I will protect Kevin. And he punches him in his chest. You know, that brittle bone shit. And then he falls down. He's like, right? And then he throws Overseer into water because that's his weakness. Bang, he pushes out. And then Casey runs up and she grabs the beast. And the beast is like, let me go. And she's like, no, bring Kevin Wendell Crumb. Kevin's like happy. He's turning slowly but surely. He's been turning for her in the sense of she's pure. He understands that they have a connection. As he's looking at her and he's like, I kind of enjoy the light. Bang, he gets sniped through the chest. She got her turn, target down. And then he has actually one of the most beautiful speeches I've seen, where he's transforming into everything else. Hedwig comes out. I want to be 9 forever. I want to be a kid. Dennis, you know I never liked the killings. I never wanted this, Patricia. He was real. Our eyes have been opened. He was true the whole time. A bunch of other people. It was a beautiful scene. Then we see one of the security guards who came out. They start drowning the overseer. Even though he was a good guy, they start drowning him. You see on his wrist a clove tattoo, right? Just remember that. He starts drowning him. He's like, oh, I'm trying to kill him. She's like, Sarah Paulson's like, take my hand, because something that earlier, one of his abilities is that he can talk through, that he can touch someone and he can like read their mind, quote unquote. But they said, no, this is just, you're using context clues. It's like how a magician can go around and there was like a bit of pollen thing flying around and I caught it. There was a bit of pollen. No, why am I talking about the pollen? So he goes and he touches her, reads her mind, which he had the ability to kind of read minds, but they're like, no, it's actually like how a magician can tell something off of touching someone. You can just do it at an extraordinary amount. And he's like, okay. Then as she's like, look, he sees something. He sees her in a room with a bunch of other people, and they're all like, are you ready? Then she walks over to Mr. Glass and she's like, your whole plan didn't work. We are here to stop superheroes like you. They weren't mental. They were actually super people. We're not like these evil agencies. We go for both sides. Because obviously you saw they just killed the overseer, the good guy. They're like, we stop both because we know you guys are bad, right? But whenever there's a bad, there will always be the opposite. Which means whenever there's a good, there will also be the opposite, right? And so Mr. Glass is looking at her. He's like, she's like, yeah, and we wiped everything. You're fucked, dude. You guys are all dead. We got rid of everything. No one's going to say anything about it. She goes, and as she's sitting there, she goes into a comic book store, and she hears these two guys talking about comics, and they're like, yeah, and I love this guy. He's such a mastermind that no one understands what his original plan was. The big thing he was talking about was just a decoy this entire time. He always had a real plan. She sits down and she thinks. She goes back to the place. Yo, we cleared all the evidence, right? It's like, yeah, everything's wiped. Was it downloaded beforehand? It's like, no, it wasn't downloaded. What the fuck? It was live streamed the entire time. Everything was live streamed. The videos instantly sent to all the family members. They're told and then she goes back and thinks about Mr. Glass. She's like, this was his plan the whole time. There was never a plan to go out. You really think he left out the magazine saying what he was planning on doing? It was never the plan. Mr. Glass had this wrapped the entire time. The plan was never to leave. It was a suicide mission. That's why he took the basement route, to mess with the computers. The computer I was talking about earlier, that's what he was doing. Mr. Glass is a mastermind. And Mr. Mind is a mastermind, you know? And I think that Mr. Glass, the movie, is a masterpiece. Each character got their own specific movie, all put together. Mr. Glass being the main dude here. And wow, did he do stellar? Did the movie do stellar? I think this is way better than Split. And it's great to learn more about the characters. You even get to see the characters, the fascinating characters from Split, break down, and you get to chop them into new bits and pieces and see what they really are. You get to learn more about Dennis, see that he never wanted these killings. You get to learn about Hedwig. Hedwig's proud about being a 9-year-old. Patricia's losing faith. What else is there? Mr. Glass, a stellar movie. I know I've been talking about movies a lot on my channel recently, but God, is it fun to talk about. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It went to 16 minutes. I've been yapping for a while. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.